Look out, they're getting rowdy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're here for the second part of Incredible Lives. You enjoying yourselves? Yeah. Great. That's all we want to hear.
The second half is about to commence.
It's going to get loose.
Oh, no.
Mark,
Yes.
you love your sport. You love AFL, the Carlton Football Club. You also love. A lot of people don't know that you're a massive Hibernian supporter in the Scottish football soccer league.
Yep, absolutely.
And you're going back very soon to watch a few games.
Yeah, well, I've got tickets. I've this Boxing Day coming up. We've got the big local derby between Hearts and Hibs. It's like the Edinburgh version of Rangers and Celtic. It's
The Glasgow.
Yeah. It was on sectarian lines, but thankfully that's no longer the case. But yeah, I'm a mad Hibs fan, Carlton fan, Parramatta fan. I've been conscripted into Parramatta. I must apologise to one of my friends who's very Canterbury orientated. I was Canterbury, but I've had to jump ship. Sorry, Anthony, wherever you are.
We just go for winners, don't we? Look, you're, as we mentioned before, you're in ACDC for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You're on the albums TNT, High Voltage, Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap, and Let There Be Rock. Those early records, they have a wild, sort of unpolished fire to them. What was it like in the recording studio? Was it sort of like, I don't know, a chaotic genius or controlled madness or just hard work?
That's interesting you say unpolished. People used to come along and see us back in those days. They'd say, you sound just like the record. And the reason that was what you were hearing was basically the band recorded live. Angus, Malcolm and myself and Phil would be in the studio recording the backing tracks. The interesting thing about those albums, TNT, Dirty Deeds and Let There Be Rock, all those albums were recorded in a fortnight time. The first week, all the songs would be written and recorded, the backing tracks. The second week would be the vocals and the mixing. They're all done in 2 weeks. Phil and myself would go in and we would know what we're going to be playing. So,
yeah.
The reason it sounds pure because it's the band playing live.
Yeah.
And it's had the test of time, I think.
Is there a moment from those albums, tours, a sound, a laugh, a look from Malcolm or Bond that you still carry with you, like that comes back to you?
Yeah, playing live with the band. It's easy now to look back because you've got to remember, I joined the band 50 years ago.
Wow.
I know you'd find it hard to believe. And I've run all the way, I must tell you. The band, like most bands, when you're touring, living in each other's pockets, there's moments where it's not, it's not always a picnic. But when we went on stage, the whole thing would drop in, and it was something else.
I want to know about Bon Scott more. Is he the most charismatic frontman ever?
I'm either the best person or the worst person to ask that question. I don't know. I've got a different version of Bon because I knew him when he wasn't being Bon Scott.
Yeah.
He was the most generous, kind-hearted person and the most caring guy you'd ever want to come across. I just wish he had cared about himself as much as he could about other people.
Yeah.
He wasn't reckless with his life. That I shouldn't even have said that. He lived for the moment and damn tomorrow.
What was it like going out with Bon Scott for a night? There was one time in Paris.
Oh right, yeah. The first time we were in Paris, which is, and what an enchanting city. But we had a couple of days off before the show we were doing. We were supporting, I think that was Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. And Phil had met up with an English girl, so I would normally share a room with him. But this time I was with Bon. So Bon and myself thought, oh, well, you know, he'd like to drop a red, and so I'll go with our social director. And so we're out, and we met up with two young French girls and having a whale of a time over, you know, the 3-day period. And at the start of the third day, Bon was, you know, looking a bit worse for wear and tear. And we, as the sun come up over Paris, which is an amazing sight because there's no high rise in Paris. So ostensibly it looks much like it would have done 100 years ago. So I think I'll do this better standing up. One was leaning on, it's just, they call it, a Juliet balcony, little tiny balconies, and we're looking over the Boulevard Saint-Germain and looking down, and sun's coming up over Paris. And so I'm starting to gloat with Bon. I say, Bon, how good are we going? We're there with the girls and we're here. And he's starting to sway and he's going like this. And I said, well, yeah, you know, Paris, beautiful. He looks up, he goes, there's a tower like that, just like that in Paris. I think we better go to bed, Bon. Last drinks.
It's a beauty.
Mark, do you remember where you were and how you felt when you heard that Bon had died?
I remember clearly. By that stage, I'd worked in publishing for a number of years with John Brommel.
Brommel?
Yeah, and I was home. It was a Monday. It might have been a Monday, I think. And I was just sitting home as I normally did. I'd been married and settled down in a place in Randwick, great. Just sitting there reading a book, and a guy who was managing the band I was in at the time, just rang me up and said, "Hey, listen, what are you doing?" So I'm sitting here reading a book. He said, "I'm coming over. I've got a bottle of scotch." I went, "What are you talking about?" You know, he said, "Oh, listen, yeah, Bon's gone," and he kept on talking, and my recollection of it that. He said he took about an hour to get there, but it only felt about 5 minutes. And I don't know how I did it, but in my mind, he mentioned something about a car, and I got it in my mind it was a car accident. Because I was... Everyone used to say if he died tomorrow, he's had a full life. So, in essence, while it wasn't a complete surprise, was such a god-awful shock. You just... my friend Brian Todd, his name is, he came over and said, you know, I said, what kind of accident was it? What are you talking about? It wasn't an accident. He said they found him in a car. And I honestly, I've been through situations where I've had similar news come to me over the years, and I think in time you tend to numb yourself from it. I have trouble remembering that day very clearly. It just seems a bit of a blur, and later on in life a similar thing, another thing happened.
And you were about, I mean, Bon had invited you to come over and live with him, didn't he? With his girlfriend Silver.
When I got the flick from the band, he said, "Listen, you know, you've got to stay here." And he said, "Come and live with me and Silver," his girlfriend. And I said, "Well, yeah, that's great." So I was going to go move into his apartment with a little bit of trepidation because Silver was she sold drugs. Yeah. And so I did a bit, but yeah, he invited me, said, "You've got to come back."
Yeah. And also the Bon Festival. which is in
Oh, yeah,
Scotland every year.
Bondfest, yeah.
You've had a lot to do with that, haven't you?
Absolutely.
And, I think
in the early on days, yeah.
there was a statue that's been unveiled. I know there's one in Fremantle, but there's one over there. I think we've got
the original one's in Kirriemuir.
I think we've got some vision of that. You unveiling it.
This is
Oh, yes.
exactly what should be happening. To a tribute to this town and a tribute to Bond. It's just... I know now why I like Bond so much. Because it's from this town. And it's just... This is a perfect tribute to you all. Ready?
It took you a while.
Those bloody bagpipes again.
I hate them.
No, that was a great day.
What a
It's
beautiful
in
moment.
Kirriemuir, where Bond's family is from.
That's amazing. You must have been mates with him then, like you know, mate.
Yeah, strangely enough, we probably became closer after I finished with the band. Whenever he came to Sydney, he'd come and stay with myself and my wife, then Kobe.
Yeah.
He stayed with us, and he was a great guy. He's just a wonderful soul, but in his own choice of words, he was a great bunch of guys, you know. But he was a hippie. He was a screaming hippie.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But look, Bond Scott replaced by Brian Johnson. Obviously, you have an affinity to Bond, but do you feel Brian has really made a contribution in that changeover?
Oh,
And was it hard for you
Of
to see?
course.
Was that hard for you to see at first?
well, I remember going back to when Phil and Malcolm got back into Sydney. The band always used to stay at the Kingsgate High at the top of William Street, and Malcolm rang him up and come up and said, "You've got to come over and Phil's, and see us." And I didn't see the way they were. Even given Angus and Malcolm's drive, I didn't see at the time how the band would actually continue. I was doubtful. As I said to my wife Kobe at the time, I said, I don't know what's going to happen. But from what I've been told, after the guys went over to Perth and got all the formalities done with Bond, and Bond's parents were very, very, particularly Dad's father, Chick, I was told, was very, very forthright, saying you must continue, you must go on. And he really lit the fire under the guys, and they've done that but with Brian taking over, it's so funny. It makes me laugh. Here in Australia, people will come up to me and say, "Oh, Mark, AC/DC stuff. I love all the Bon Scott stuff. I don't like the new guy." It's like, he's been there 40 years. But what Brian's done and what the band has done, and when they played in Sydney on that Back in Black tour, I found it very, very difficult during the gig, because I'd be hearing the songs, and when Bond would come in, Bond wouldn't. I found it difficult.
Yeah.
Really, I got really emotional on the night. But in saying that, the other guys, Mel, Angus, Phil, Cliff, they were doing that every night.
Yeah.
And the way they did it, I thought was superb. I've got so much respect for the guys.
There's been a lot of speculation on whether Bon Scott wrote a lot of the lyrics on Back in Black, which I must admit, some of the songs, Back in Black, Should We All Night Long, they're very Bon Scott-esque. Do you think that he wrote a lot of the lyrics?
I wasn't there at the time. I have no knowledge of that whatsoever. But what I will point to, the first album, the High Voltage album, there's Little Lover, She's Got Balls, and also off this TNT album, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? You would think of those as being very Bon Scott lyrics.
Yeah.
They were written before Bond. Angus and Malcolm wrote those lyrics. Angus particularly was very good at writing lyrics. He wrote pretty much TNT, I'm Dynamite, and Dirty Deeds, Done Dirty Trip. Angus and Malcolm could write really good lyrics.
I think it's probably more of the case of it's come up because, I mean, it was a very quick turnover. Bond died in February 1980, and the band hires Brian Johnson the very next month. They fly to the Bahamas the month after that. Then they write, produce, and record Back in Black, the second biggest album of all time, behind Michael Jackson's Thriller. Of late, it's sold over 50 million copies worldwide.
Thank you very much for reminding me of that.
But
what have I done?
But I mean, that's why a lot of people feel like in such a small timeline, it was almost like the album was ready to roll. They just needed someone to get in there.
Yeah, I think that album took 5 months to record, though, didn't it? It took a long time to record that album.
It was released in July, so
maybe that long. But in saying that, the band have a history of recording bands really quick, recording albums really quick.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not trying to defend anyone.
Yep.
I just giving you some sort of.
No, it's a good answer because again, it has been brought up in the last few years, so it's great that you've clarified that in your own words. Also, just staying on the young brothers, Angus and Malcolm, musical magicians, but the pair of them, they really drove the band further and further, didn't they? I mean, even former AC/DC drummer Chris Slade once said that they seemed to have telepathic minds where they could just look at each other, not say anything, but they knew what they were thinking. Did you experience that?
Brothers, there's something about brothers in bands. In excess, like they had the same thing.
Yeah.
Brothers, they just have this way, don't they? And sisters.
The thing is, it's once again, I'm the worst or the best to comment on this because playing in AC/DC is a big deal, right? It's a much bigger deal than it was at the time.
Yeah.
But I've got to tell you, those guys, that's why when you asked me before about Angus being renowned as a great guitar player, I can't think of them.
It's like they're a double act. It's almost like you've got
absolutely. But
Angus was the showman. That no one was doing a show. You had Bond, right? Just ripping razor things and strongman stuff. But then you had Angus.
And don't forget the bagpipes that he didn't play.
Angus
couldn't put together.
But then they had you and Phil Rudd, who won the world's greatest rhythm sections fucking ever.
There you go. Round of applause for
It's the
that.
meat and potatoes of the whole band.
To put a full stop on that, if you're playing in a band and you've got Malcolm Young playing rhythm guitar and Phil playing drums, if you can't play bass to that, get down to Centrelink. Really.
Well, talking about Centrelink, you were axed from the band.
Oh, that was a bit hard.
But you got a tip off on your 21st birthday party. That's a shit house present.
So what we had, there was quite a bit of tension around the band at the time. We'd been kicked off a tour with Black Sabbath because Malcolm chose to knock Geezer Butler out one night at a hotel, which is not good. You don't knock out the main act.
No.
So
what did Ozzy say?
Ozzy, he must have deserved it. And if you want a good night out, you get Bon Scott and Ozzy Osbourne. They took me out on Sunday night in Hamburg on the Reeperbahn. If you don't aware of the Reeperbahn, there's stuff that goes on in clubs that I can't even speak of now without blushing. But went out with Ozzy and Bon, and they used to wear the same sort of shoes. They used to call them brothel creepers. They had red and blue. They're big soles. They're teddy boy shoes. Yeah, that's what they used to call them.
Yeah, that's what
anyway, Ozzy had a red pair and Bon had a blue pair, right? And we were out having a great night, and I don't know what happened, but I left them about 4 a.m, and then we went to the gig the next day, and they only just got there then. But a weird thing, one of them was wearing a red shoe and and they had each other's jeans on.
Wow.
Now, nothing funny. I want to know what happened.
Yep, you heard it first here. Just staying on the axing, how did you feel when you actually got the news? You got the word. You were sat down in front of them, and you got told.
I felt awful.
Yeah.
I was hoping it wasn't coming, but I'll allude to what you mentioned before. 2 months prior to that was my 21st birthday. And so the guys I thought was great. They hired a German beer cellar, Keller, and had this great party going, and we're having a ball. So my 21st birthday, great. So we had a tour manager, Scotty, brought his brother down from Dundee, saying, come down, we're having a party. So it's all going swimmingly. Everything's rosy, So anyway, Scotty goes to the bathroom and leaves his brother with me. And we're having a chat away, and he said, listen, tell me, everyone seems to be pretty friendly here and it's going so well. Why are you leaving the band?
Oh.
And I went, I'm not. He said, oh, okay. And then Scotty come back, and I said, listen, your brother told me I'm leaving the band. And that's it. Scotty and myself, if Scotty just grabbed me, and we walked out. We went out to speakers. You left the party.
Yeah. You were quoted as saying, when you're in a band like that, it's pretty much like being in a professional football team. You're just moving around to all these different grounds and gigs. You're just taken care of, and you don't have to think of anything else but other than playing a gig. Once you're on the outside, it's like a divorce. Yeah. Not only does your employment change, but because you're living with these guys in the band, your whole lifestyle changes.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't tell you. We had the meeting.
Would it be like leaving the army, being in this regimented thing where you're just going?
Well, everything changes. It's not like your wife's left you or you lost your job. Everything changes. The whole what you just dedicating your life to. And at the meeting, when it was Angus and Malcolm's place, and walking there with Phil, and Phil wasn't saying a word. So listen, mate, there's something going on. And he said, oh, listen, mate, you've got to get there, So Malcolm spoke up and he said, we need to get a guitar player a bass player who can sing. And I sing. Yeah. I didn't sing an AC/DC. Oh, okay. But an unusual thing happened. It was just an awful period. And I got back in the car with Michael Browning to go back to Mayfair where he's living to just work out what we're going to do, And I'm sitting in the back of the London cab with Michael, just looking out the window, and I just felt this huge rush of relief go through me. I was like, oh, that's better. It was because it was a very tense, it was a very, not volatile, but it was a very, very tense situation to be within the band. It was, wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. But, in saying that, there's the reason I was fired from the band. There's only one thing. You're looking at him. I didn't take it seriously enough. I didn't give the whole deal the reverence it deserved.
Has that been your biggest regret?
I don't have regrets. You wish things didn't happen. But sitting here now, with the way things have gone over the last 50 years, to be honest, I can honestly say I can sit here and, other than things that were completely out of my control. But I suppose I'm fine. I've only got great memories of it, Thomas.
I suppose you look at the history with the band as well. They're ruthless when it comes to culling band members of the past, and it's a bit of a Congo line, to be truthful. Brian, he was replaced after 4 decades with Axl Rose, apparently because of a hearing complaint, but from rumours that it was a contractual issue. Phil Rudd, he's been in and out with Chris Slade. We could talk about more band members.
Yeah.
Bon used to peel off and do his own thing as well.
Absolutely.
Do you feel if that accident or if he didn't die, was there a chance he could have even been axed?
We had been axed in the time I was in the band. He was on the way out at one stage. I even remember when the hotel I was staying in, we were in Canberra and we were staying in this. I remember staring at that. You get the key and you used to have tags, and this had a opal green tag, and it was the Banjo Patterson Motor Inn on Gira Bombera Drive. Right? That's how it's burned into my mind. And and there was the guy who was picked who was going to take over, and it was just would have been so wrong.
Yeah,
it would have been so wrong. But there was some issues with Bon at that stage where. Not a political decision, a decision we thought, thankfully it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But the way it happened with losing Bon, and then they make that album, it's quite an amazing journey.
Yeah,
it
sure.
certainly is. And what a legacy Bon and Angus have.
Yeah.
Bon and Malcolm have left.
Yeah.
Angus is now is driving along. It's brilliant.
Now you joined a band called Finch after the axing. They later changed their name to Contraband before heading to another band called Heaven. But you joined Rose Tattoo, but you were asked to join a few times, weren't you? What was the sticking point?
Over the years, yes, I was. It's it. It's saying, is that the police? No, the band, of course. But yeah, I was approached a number of times early on because I had a very good mate in the band, Mick Cox.
Yep.
Fellow Carlton supporter.
Mm-hmm.
We've been to a couple of winning grand finals together. We played football in Sydney, AFL at East Sydney. We did 2 seasons there, which managers of both our bands weren't very happy about, but we did it. But I was asked by Mick Christian, who was the band's manager, great guy, real colourful racing identity, you put him down there. Very colourful. And he said, oh, listen, you come with my band. He said, but you're going to have to get tats. And I said, oh, mate, and I don't know what. It just came out and said, I'd love to do that, but I can't get tattoos because I'm Jewish.
It costs too much.
It cost too much.
That was it. But I've been with the band, no tattoos,
Wow.
But I've got to tell you, to this day, it may sound an odd thing to say, but my 2 favourite bands in the world are AC/DC and Rose Tattoo.
Tattoo. Yeah. Just back onto AC/DC, you decided to sue the band over unpaid royalties, which you said was strictly business. It was settled out of court. You said there's no hard feelings, but it didn't go the other way, did it?
Well, it certainly soured the relationship. It killed it. It was something that should have been at the time managed differently.
Mm-hmm.
But you deserved it. You were there for all
Absolutely.
for the albums, on the bus, doing all the gigs, right? This is why I really believe in sharing royalties, and you deserve something for what you did.
I too. There was a couple of different circumstances around it, but it was unfair, and it was sorted out. But it definitely put a wedge between me and the guys.
Do you feel that in 2003, AC/DC were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Your name was initially on the list of the inductees.
As a nominee,
But your name was removed, which is believed to be at the request of the band, maybe the Youngs. Do you feel that obviously suing the band, that played a part in obviously not getting a role in that?
It's so... I went against my instincts. I had a gentleman who's a music journalist called Murray Engelhardt ring me up and say, hey, listen, you've been nominated to join the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I said, well, what are you talking about? He said, well, AC/DC are going in and it's Bon and you are along for the ride. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, that surprises me. So my initial thought was to decline the nomination. Mm-hmm. But what happened, I had, a few people that I really respect their opinions say, no, this could be meaning that things are thawing out. And, I said, well, no one's contacted me from the band. Mm. So I let it ride, and I shouldn't have. I should have just gone for it. And then the word from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was that I didn't satisfy the criteria for a nomination. I just wish it could have been all nipped in the bud at the start. Yeah. But they richly deserve what they got. And I mentioned before, I was with if you look at the timeline of the band, if I might be with the band for, I have to take extra 3 or 4% of the time, but it's a very formative period, and the fact that Bond was there was great. And honestly, as I said here with Nino, I wouldn't change a thing.
Mm. What do you reckon, people? Do you reckon he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
A petition. No, don't. I'm only joking now. I'm fine. Leave it. It's all good. Oh, this is your life now, is it?
Well, it's been a very emotional evening for you. You've told so many things, and I've seen you well up a bit. And,
and some of it was even true.
At Elk Architecture, we don't just design buildings, we shape the spaces where life happens. From concept to construction, our award-winning architects bring our vision to life with precision, passion, and purpose. Whether it's your dream home or your next big commercial project, trust Elk Architecture to build what matters most. Elk Architecture, designed for life, built for the future.
Mark Evans, thanks for being so honest. We're going to get on to Craig now. This is going to be good. Pub rock isn't around anymore, but you guys had to struggle for a venue back in the old days. You mentioned the Mossman Hotel before. How good was it playing in pubs back in the day?
Well, there was no internet. There were. If you wanted a job, you'd go to the pub. You'd go to the pub and find out who's hiring. Pubs were the lifeblood of the country, really. Everything happened in the pub. You'd go to the pub and find out.
Look at the people, the
Rose
band.
Tattoo, the Noughts, who were super Nought, the Lonely Hearts, the Reels, loved the Reels. Radiators, Flowers, the Spies, that was not us. That was a Kiwi band. Rats Bander, the Hitmen, the Thought Criminals, Roger Grierson, who went on to run Festival Records, Roger Grierson, My Sex, Vixen, Matt Finish, Cold Chisel.
There's so many bands, isn't there?
Everyone's there.
Every night.
Was anything. XL Caprice, they did that great version of My City of Sydney. Remember that? XL Caprice?
No.
You're fucking too old.
I remember late night on Channel 7, Tony Leonetti singing it. Or Tommy Leonetti.
That's the song that they did. They used to play at the Sussex Hotel, XL Caprice. They had Kimball Rendell, who wound up playing in the Hoodoo Gurus for a while, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Kimball Rendell. And Joanna Piggott, who wrote Rain with Todd Hunter. Don't you go out in the rain. Mm-hmm. Da, da, da. That's the thing I noticed playing with Dragon the other week.
I gotta tell you
songs.
What? You should have taken more drugs. No, this guy's memory. It's fantastic. fantastic.
Craig,
Would have spoiled your good looks.
thank you. Craig, you first met Michael Wiley, your partner in crime, who went
Nelson
with you
Bay,
to Nelson Bay High School. You guys just clicked like Lennon and McCartney. Yes. Now, we got a grab. Now, Michael didn't do too many interviews in his time, but he talked about on this occasion the first time he ran into you in Nelson Bay High. Let it go.
We were in the same class. We got introduced. He actually pinched me on the bottom, and I thought, "Oh my goodness, he's a puff." And he had earrings too. But in fact, he was a bass player. So we started hanging out and talked about music, and then started jamming together, and decided to leave school and form a band.
I pinched him on the because we were in the principal's at the office, right? And it's like. The principal saying, Craig, I think you might go well with Michael Wiley here. He comes from England. Sort of did that to just get a rise out of him. But Mike,
Oh, you would have been a bugger of a kid, I reckon.
Oh, look, I'm thrown out of class. Bloxom, get out of class. Get out. It's just, I heard that all the time. When Mike and I met, we immediately started talking about David Bowie. And within 10 minutes in class, it was, Bloxom, get out. And I was just used to it. You ever had the cane? Anyone had the cane?
Every day.
Did you?
Yeah.
That hurts, man. That really hurts. Really. And it used to depend on which teacher you got it from. You'd go, not Mr. Lavis, not Lenny Lavis. Oh, no, I've got it. Because he'd bring it from back here.
Yeah. They at Mars Brothers.
We need to bring it back in, don't we?
We do. It was the end of discipline.
Sort out these kids of the...
Bring it back. Bring back the cane.
Sort, yeah.
So I think that's another show for another night, this one. Although I'd love to get into it, let me tell you. But you moved down to Sydney with Michael, and you joined up with Cliff Grigg. You formed a three-piece band.
Yeah.
Was it always going to be a three-piece?
Well, we wanted to get a singer, and we would try to get singers. They just laugh at us. You guys, no way. They don't come like, don't sing with you. No way. It was like because we had a real. Someone once said that Spies were a cacophony of clatter. And I think that summed it up.
It's easy for you to say.
With a mouthful of slivered almonds. So I just wound up singing. Mike sang the songs he wrote, and I sang the songs that I wrote. But we just clicked. We became mates. We thought, let's leave Port Stephens, leave Fingal Bay, let's go to Sydney and start a band. So we got in my car, my little Morris 1100, and we started out, and we got to Pete's Ridge, and it was pissing down rain. It was only one lane each way back then in 1976, pissing down rain, and for some reason Michael reached over and went, look out! And he grabbed the steering wheel and jerked the steering wheel and pissing rain. Next minute, we're going sideways, and I'm looking out my window going, here comes a post. I might lean this way. But I remember car lights going the other way. So we went off the road this way, rolled the car. So from the minute we got together, got in the car, driving to Sydney, we wrote the car off, had our fucking gear all over the pissing rain. So it wasn't, the most wonderful of stuff.
But you moved into some digs that were quite questionable. As I mentioned, introducing you were rat-infested drug dealers. Did that experience living in that area inspire you guys to do a lot of, sort of songs on injustice? Was that helpful?
I'll tell you, we did that gig with the Tats at the Astra, and I went straight home and wrote all of injustice. I get really moved by events or something, but seeing the Tats, like back in their day with
fearsome band,
Pete on guitar, but they were so powerful that I just went home and I just started to play, and I thought, I'm going to write a song with meaning. I've always had a strong social conscience, and so writing words like that came easy. But that song, Injustice, after finishing a gig with the Tats, I went straight home and wrote that song. So it's the influence of certain bands.
Yeah.
Social situation.
But music, though.
Oh, hard.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to magic I know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm doing with Rockstar, the effect that it can have.
What were you two saying? It's a universal language.
Yeah, the most profound things can happen.
Yeah. Your manager, Gary Morris, who was also the manager of Midnight Oil, the unofficial sixth member, really put SPYS out there, didn't he? And
he was.
How did you guys how did it all happen? I mean, how did you get seen by him?
He wanted a band that he could manipulate. With the Oils, I know because I've stood outside many Midnight Oil band meetings. They would have a 30-minute meeting to decide what colour lights were going to go in the side fill. They a band of discussion and great intent, and they would just argue for. So Gary wanted a band that he could say, right, we're going to do a film clip. We're going to go out to Broughton Island, and we're going to carry all this gear up. And I see this, and I want you to do that. And he wanted a band that he could direct. So I think SPYS fell into that category for him. But mind you, saying that, he was the one who did all of the Diesel and Dust. He was like, let's go out bush. We got to connect with country and all. Like, Gary drove a lot of those things with the Oils, like he did with the SPYS. He's a visionary man, amazing man.
Yeah. And a lot of the SPYS songs really still hold true to this day, don't they? Don't Tear It Down, Credit Cards, Injustice. We don't see people making songs like that anymore in regards to trying to make a difference.
Yeah, you'd never make any money running songs like that. No. So, yeah, most people, look, music's changed a lot. We were a product of the times. Like, you remember the times back that we came from, Mark. It was just different. There was pubs. Music was everything to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Music, I used to look at the album covers, used to turn it over. When it was a gatefold, it was like, oh, fantastic, more photos, And
things have changed so much. Because if you look looking from now back, say, to 1975,
yes,
50 years.
Yeah, wow. 50 years.
But if you go from 1975 and go 50 years before, it's back to 1925. How much different is 1925 to 1975?
Yeah.
That's
Michael Wiley once said in an interview that the song Sally Ann was stemmed from people saying that you didn't write enough love songs. We've got a snippet of Michael's interview with this.
I'll tell you how Sally Ann came about. I was watching 60 Minutes, and she got on TV to say that her boyfriend had been shot in cold blood by Warren LaFranchi. Warren LaFranchi was shot in cold blood by Detective Sergeant Roger Rogerson. It wasn't proven, but it was a myth, whatever. And I said to Craig, I bet she'll be dead within 6-8 weeks. Now she's got on TV to say that, point the fingers at the coppers. And of course she was found dead at Centennial Park. So after that, I thought, I'm going to write a song about her, because girls are always saying, why do you write love songs about, and songs about girls? And it wasn't our cup of tea, but I thought this is a great excuse to write a song about a woman. But it didn't have to be a love song, it was a story.
That's one hell of a bloody love song, Craig.
I can remember writing the words to that in a Canberra motel and going next door, and Mike didn't like the words at all. He was going, no, I'm going to hate that. I don't like that at all. So like you were saying, being in bands is not easy. There's constant conflict. Tonight you've had an emotional ride because you've relived all of this shit, right? Well, it's like that. Bands are a bit like being in...
I'll send you an invoice.
The army. But you do, like, you have great moments, but going on stage is that's the best part. But the rest of it's egos, conflict on the bus, someone's done a shit in the bus when
Well, you don't
shit in the bus.
You don't, yeah. No number twos in the tour bus.
On
Don't
the
do
tour
it.
bus. No, you can have a wee, but you wait until the tour bus stops at a gas station. But if someone goes, it's just the whole bus stinks.
You honestly can't say we haven't talked about the big issues tonight. Spy versus Spy, the name, it came famous from the comic book strip.
Yeah.
It got you in a bit of trouble though too, didn't it?
Well, I will tell the story. We got a gig with Do Re Mi and North to Alaskans at St Leonard's Park, right? It was a Double J show. I think it was 1983, and they were paying us by check. They were paying us $600 in 1983. That was a lot of money, but we didn't have a bank account. We didn't have a band name, so we went. I think it was Cliff actually who went up to the department where you register a business name, and we couldn't register Spy versus Spy because of the magazine, and there was a band called The Spies, and there was a Kiwi band called the Neon Spies. So Cliff just put a V in front of it, and they went, yeah, we'll
That's good.
registered that. So it was the check from the ABC once again, getting back to Countdown, and all these things link up to the Australian music industry. But it was the ABC paying us by check that got our name registered as V-Spy.
Cool.
Just with you mentioned about conflicts within bands. Spy versus Spy. Obviously, you had you've had some stoushes. You feud with Cliff Grigg. Has there been a truce? I mean, there was a cease and desist order.
Oh, does everyone really want to go over this again? Yeah, look, they're bad.
Can you see it? Can you ever see it?
The New Reason Spies,
Yeah.
right? I thought they were great. And then that all fell apart. If you talk to those guys who were great guys, they were sacked. And then Cliff moved on with someone else. And so I wasn't happy about that. And then I started the RSPYS, and then Cliff slagged me off publicly, and so I slagged off, and it just turned into this this shit fight. And then they served me with a cease and desist. You can't use the fucking name Spy versus Spy because we are the band Spy versus Spy and their manager. So I had some legal friends, and we sent them not a cease and desist, but a bill for $1.6 million for registering a false name that has history, heritage behind it for a band that goes way back before them registering it and saying, we are the band Spy vs. Spy. So, and then it all seems to have...
Thank you for explaining that, because that's a question a lot of people ask me to ask you tonight. So
Okay.
to get your side, because it's just, it gets messy, and that's what happens.
How dare they send me a cease and desist and say I can't use
The songs
name
you wrote.
Spy versus Spy in any...
Yeah.
That's what got me up.
That's actually happened in other bands too. It happened with the Little River Band.
Oh, that's a sad story
That's
too.
another one.
Yeah.
That's another sad story where the bass player, who was an American, registered the name Little River Band in the States, and then excluded all of those guys, and he said, I've got the band name.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Another sad story, Michael Wiley, he passed away in 2018, cancer. How'd you feel? I mean, that would have been a...
Look, it was just sad. Mike and I were friends. We met at school. We had a dream, and we followed the dream, and we had success beyond our wildest imaginings. We were in the right place at the right time, and then in 2003 before that I could see the writing on the wall that bands don't last forever. Mike and I had this conversation once, so I'm just going to say it out loud. We both agreed that Spies, we're all right, but kind of mediocre. And when I say mediocre, I mean it in a, like, we're all right, we're a good band. You'd come and see us play, you'd have a good time and stuff. But it's not like we didn't write songs like Midnight Oil or AC/DC, like, so the word mediocre, it's just, we're all right.
But it obviously struck a chord somewhere.
Well, of course.
absolutely.
And that touches my heart.
I think we might have spoken about it before backstage. People going to gigs, particularly Australian crowds, smell authentic.
Yes.
And they also smell bullshit really quick.
Yeah.
And that's why bands disappear, because people go, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But that's why bands get longevity, because people going to see them invest in them.
Yeah.
Because they believe them.
Yeah.
Craig, you had a change of career. You became a chef.
Became a chef, yeah.
And you worked on an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico, and you're on it when Hurricane Katrina hit.
Yeah, I was out there in the Gulf. See,
Now that wasn't the rig, was it?
no, that was one of our rigs that we went to rescue. That's a you can see the pontoons to the left are all filled with water. So I was on a 750-foot ultra deep water drill ship, and we went parked next to it to ferry all the guys onto our rig. Yeah, I went and worked there just because I've got this US passport. I applied for the job here. The internet was this new thing, and I went, because I'd always wanted to work on a drill rig. Call me man. And I applied for these jobs in the USA, but they didn't know that I was in Australia. So they said, okay, be in New Orleans on Wednesday the 5th, and we'll do the interview and stuff. So I just hopped on a plane and flew to New Orleans.
Look at you go.
And look at me go. Look at me go. And I got a motel. I got the job, and the next thing, I went and worked on a rig, and the food was shit. And so I started to just change things, and all the people working on the rig didn't like that, because a lot of you know when you go into a workplace and you start to change things, no one likes it. So, but one day I was there about 3 months, and one day I went down to do the breakfast shift, and half of the crew were gone, and this voice came on the thing, said, Craig Bloxom, please report to the captain's office. And so I go up there, the captain said, well, I've gotten rid of all of those people you were fighting with. You've got 1 week to prove that you can run this ship better than it was being done. And so I was the head chef, but you've got to do all of the ordering, all of the food, all of the toilet paper. You can't not order the toilet paper when you're on a ship, because you only get things once a week and stuff. So that was, but I wound up doing that for 3.5 years. But the first 6 months that I was there, Hurricane Katrina hit, and we got most of the crew off, but me, because I was the head chef, had to stay. And I tell you what, it was very exciting.
And you had to take care of the toilet paper.
No, I don't.
You needed extra.
It was, and fucking, it was like, I remember we had lots of ships pulling. Oh, I'm spitting. I just saw. I'm getting so excited, I'm spitting.
Say it, don't spray it.
Lots of small boats came and got everything's piloted by satellite. So all of these boats came and sat next to us in case they were going to sink, we could rescue them. And I remember these boats next to, I remember looking out the windows, and you'd see 30 feet, and these boats are going up. So it was like, we were in the middle of Hurricane Katrina, which just flattened everything. But I tell you what, I wasn't scared once. It was like, it was fun.
Mate, I think we need to make a movie about this guy. What do you reckon?
I probably shouldn't say fun.
It's been an incredible journey. You've had an incredible life, and also you're breathing life into the music scene again with RSPYS. Well done. Give Craig a round of applause.
Oh, yeah.
Tired of missing out on the best properties? Stop searching, start winning. At Optimum Buyers Agency, we work for you, not the seller. We negotiate harder, we move faster, we find the homes others don't. Off-market deals, smart strategy, real results. Whether it's your first home or your forever home, we make it happen. Optimum Buyers Agency, your edge in a competitive market.
Teza, what do you love about Billy Idol?
I guess he was probably one of the greatest rock gods of our generation, of my generation anyway. You know, some of the stories, are pretty loose about Billy, and he just had a lot of swagger. Yeah. Let's face it. I mean, with his little whiplash smile.
Well, he only just turned 70 last week, and the funny thing, he's actually got a new documentary coming out early next year. It's called Billy Idol, I Should Be Dead.
Yes. Yeah.
It's true.
He got some really good reviews about it at Cairns and a few other films.
I hope you haven't gone to the next level of imitating Billy Idol.
Well, I did have a motorcycle crash. Yeah, like Billy did,
No heroin?
No.
Oh, you got to try it.
Yeah. Not yet.
Just with the Billy Idol, with the tribute shows, I suppose you knew it was never going to take you on a world stage, but I think it's great how you're actually, again, making money out of it. You're making a living out of it. And to the average person that sort of went, I don't know what to do with my life, you actually made it happen.
Yeah, when I went on The Voice, I said to the judges, that I just wanted to prove to people my age, I'm 63 next week, so that, I'm only a kid, I'm just a grommet. Yeah, or grandpa, as I like to get the kids to call me. Yeah, grandpa. You like that? Yeah, the granddaughters wouldn't run with it. It's Poppy Tez. But, but I've always just been a bit of a goer. And but I don't have a plan for my life. This is the funny thing about me is that I say to people, I'm like on the river of life and I'm on the lie low and I've got my hands behind my back and I just float along, right? And if you don't have a plan, then you don't get disappointed. So I just kind of go with the flow. And life just takes me to where I need to be. And sometimes I might go into a little billabong and I'm just there for a while when I'm needed. And then the tide changes and the current picks me up and I'm off again somewhere else.
To Brazil.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
But that's the thing. We mentioned earlier that you did a gig in Muswellbrook. The very next day, you're at Dixon Park Beach commentating surfing. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde sort of a life.
Yeah, in Wollongong. I just got back from the Australian Junior Surfing titles. I've been one of the senior commentators in surfing in Australia for a long time.
You've got a bit of video of that too, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Morning, everyone. We are down here at Macaulay's. Of course, it's day number 1 to the Australian Shortboard Titles 2025. And I'll tell you what, the boys in the first heat were lighting it up with some big numbers. It's a left-hand point break. It's around 1.5 metres, maybe 1.8 metres. And it's pumping. Offshore all day.
Offshore all day.
Yeah, there we go.
Offshore.
Yeah, so I work a lot with Surfing Australia, who run the Australian titles. I do all their big key events and stuff. And like I said, I was working on the World Surf League there pre-COVID, and it was when COVID hit that I pivoted back towards. I thought, what am I going to do now? Because I had this unreal life, and then it just came to a grinding halt on a Saturday at the Hurley contest, and they come up to me and they said, Teza, we're going to finish the contest today, and I said, today? Well, tomorrow the waves are going to be really pumping. And they said, we've just met with the New South Wales Health Department and we can't say too much, but there's shit going on. And I went, what sort of shit? Yeah. Anyway, so the next day COVID was out of the bag and that was the end of the world tour. It just stopped right there. And, so I went back and thought, fuck, what am I going to do? And I looked in the corner and I saw the old guitar and I thought, fuck, I wonder if I can remember those Billy Idol songs. And that was pretty much how it happened. Yeah, exactly.
Teza, your upbringing is as interesting as it gets. It really centres around your parents, your dad, KJ, and your mum, Delia.
Delia.
Yeah,
which is a classic old name, isn't it?
Yeah. But they sounded like real go-getters back in the day in Sydney.
That's them there, by the way.
Wow.
That's mum and dad.
Beautiful.
Carry him around with me everywhere.
Wow.
Sometimes dad is in an awkward position for my girlfriend.
Now they were restaurateurs. They ran a motel. Your dad even had an appliance business selling white goods, and he was also an SP bookmaker.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot to fit in. There's some fascinating stories.
Yeah. He was a colourful character. We sort of we're linked to horse racing, and we had horses. I rode a horse to school every day of my life in Maroubra. Yeah, every day from third class till U10. Yeah.
Fantastic.
No bridle, no saddle, just a piece of rope around the horse and just boom off I went. Yeah. So, but we had probably 12 or 13 horses. We had a big farm in Kangaroo Valley. Dad always had like piles of cash stashed in the house and stuff. He'd say, "Go get me a jacket, would you please?" And I'd like go, "Holy shit, look what's in here!" Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he worked out of the Racecourse Hotel.
Yeah.
As an SB bookie, and I used to go down with him when I was 10 years old. And I remember that he used to fold up the $20 notes. I don't think the 50s were even invented. No. And he'd put all these 20s into an envelope, and then the two detective sergeants would come in and go, "G'day, Kevo," and he'd go, "There you go, boys." And that was like a little Egyptian handshake. Yeah.
Your dad also owned a business. Your dad also owned a business called Alpine Electrics, which was on Coogee Bay Road. He had a couple of guys working for him that went off and started their own businesses, and they were Keith Lord and Ian Norman. They went on to carve out some pretty successful career. I mean, if he kept on Ian Norman, you could have been selling us a Dyson down at Harvey Norman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's friends with Jerry Harvey and all that. They were all sort of like came through at the same time. But Dad was the first guy in Australia at Alpine Electrics to decide that he would have a double-page spread in the Sydney Morning Herald advertising white goods that had a scratch on them for $1 on invoice. And so many people came to buy the gear that for that weekend that the cops had to close Coogee Bay Road. There was 10,000 people that came to buy. Wow. So that's what clicked with with Ian and Keith. And they went, "Holy shit, there's something in this discounted stuff." And it was at the beginning of the whole thing.
He was a great marketer, wasn't he? Because tell us about the double-page ad he had in regards into the Sydney Morning Herald.
Yeah. It was Philips released the new shaver, the electric shaver. Yeah. So he thought, I got to do a promo, and he ended up he went and bought a pig, and he put it in the front window at Alpine Electric. So I was there that day. And once again, the whole row got closed and stuff because people wanted to come and see this bloke shaving a pig with an electric razor. Yeah, if it could shave a pig's hair, it could shave anything. Yeah, he was a bit of an entrepreneur.
Yes, a visionary.
Yeah, exactly.
A visionary.
Just getting back to his SP bookie days. So he would have hung around some, I suppose, shady characters in his time. I suppose, I wouldn't say gangsters, well, maybe Nettie Smith, George Freeman, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Carlotta?
Yeah, Carlotta. Dad took me to a Carlotta show when I was 12 years old.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I remember I got in and he got to the front door and Carlotta was actually welcoming people to the show. It was the Lay Girl show. And I was like, exactly, the cross.
Lay Girls, you remember Lay Girls?
Yeah. You were.
You like that.
You used to live there.
Exactly. Yeah. He's still got the dress.
I thought it was Les Girl.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember. Dad, Carlotta came and met. She's like, "Kevin," and gave me Dad this like big kiss, and I'm thinking, "What the fuck is he, my old man, up to?" But yeah, when I watched Underbelly, it was like watching a kind of a family reunion.
Your parents also frequented the nightclub Checkers, which was known as a place in Sydney for movers and shakers, the who's who of the zoo, so to speak. You also said once, I suppose the interesting thing about this is that Checkers is the actual first place that AC/DC played live.
I heard that.
Yeah, it was New Year's Eve 1973.
Wow.
And then that 74 went by, and but another interesting thing, 3 years later, Rose Tattoo played their first gig at Checkers
Right.
First
on
gig.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And Bon Scott saw them there. And he very much drove the wagon to get them signed to Albert.
There you go. Yeah.
And Bon Scott was a big fan of Rose Tattoo. Big fan.
Now, your dad made a bit of money in his time. He took on a big outsider bet and it romped home, which meant that he sold up and bought a house in Fingal Bay.
Yep.
And the reason he picked Fingal Bay is from years earlier leading into World War II.
Yeah, most people from the Bay would know that the Country Club Hotel used to be the US Army base, and that out on the point there toward Charlie was where they had the troops and stuff.
Yep.
And they bought when the Australian troops were going to New Guinea.
Wow.
That's
They took them.
That's Shoal Bay.
Yeah, they took all the troops to Port Stephens to train them, because the terrain at Port Stephens, you go up to the lookout at Nelson Bay, and you look out and it looks like an egg cup, right? It's got all these little hills in it, so it was very much like New Guinea. So they said, look, get him in there, pack him up, train him in that sort of environment, and then chuck him up to New Guinea. So Dad went there first. Him and his mate did some training. They climbed up over a hill one day, and they looked over the hill, and he said to his mate, Jesus, Smithy, if we ever get back from this war, I'm going to come and fucking buy a joint here and live here, yeah. So Smitty never made it, but my old man did.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a story. Also, too, your nan lived at Soldiers Point, which is where your summers were spent. There's a funny story. This is how much money, Teza's dad had rolling around. You ran out, and we go back to toilet paper.
Yeah.
Funny enough, we go back to toilet paper. You ran out of toilet paper.
Yeah, so Dad and I went up before the family. So we go to that farm in Kangaroo Valley with the horses in winter, and then we go up to the Nelson Bay Nana's house and it was right on the water, one of those 5-row old joints, but right on the water line, high tide, right on the step. And he had my brother Dallas had his own speedboat, and that Dad was loaded back then. All the money ran out when I got to 16, so I was like, fuck that. But anyway, we went up there with Dad, and I was probably about 12, and maybe a bit older, maybe about 13, and it was when $50 notes first come out, so whenever that was, because I'd never seen them before.
You can roll them up and snort them.
Yeah, you could.
Craig.
Yeah.
Enough, Craig.
Yeah, but what happened was we got to the house and no one had been there since the last summer. And Dad went into the dunny. He'd always be one of those guys that sit on the dunny for a long time, reading the Sydney Morning Herald. Remember those dads? Yeah. And anyway, so he went in there and he's called me and he's gone, hey, there's no paper in here. And I went, okay, I'll have a look around the house. So I looked everywhere, couldn't find anything. He said, just get me an old newspaper. And I looked everywhere and I went, there's nothing like paper in the whole house. He said, get my wallet. And so I got his wallet, and I'm not joking, because it was like the start of school holidays for 6 weeks up in the Bay. And it would have been that thick with just 50s, and he peeled 3 50s off, and he said to me, hey, watch this. And he wiped his ass on it, and he said, don't ever let money rule your life, mate. It's only paper.
And this is why cash is king.
It's a true story. Yeah, I know. No wonder I haven't got a good superannuation plan. It was more like a misspent youth. That's my superannuation plan.
It's a great
Now, what we're going to do, we're nearly wrapping it up with Teza, but what we're going to do, the RSPYS are going to play us out at the end. I'm going to get some of your bands up here to get band members to get ready. If you want to,
I got to have a piss real bad.
Okay. Right. You could have took your microphone off before you said that. Although we're talking about wiping our ass with 50s, mate. Come on. Teza, you had a health scare a while back, which you thought was cancer. It ended up being an abscess on the inside of your bowel. Was that a wake-up call?
Yeah, it was a bit scary. That's when I went in hospital. I had an operation, and it was when I was in hospital they wheeled me out of the operating theatre and into the little place, and they said, you got 7 days here, Teza, just to get ready. We're going to keep an eye on you and everything like that. So when they pulled the curtain, first thing you do is pick your phone up. When the first thing I saw was the application for the voice, so that was ironic. But since then I also got diagnosed with CLL, which is a form of leukemia. But it's probably the best kind of blood cancer that you can have because I can see it coming. So every 3 months I have a blood test now, and to keep an eye on all that sort of stuff. But what it has done to me, folks, has made me realise that life is really fragile. It's super important to do the things that mean a lot to you, and to tell the people that you love them, and to like live every day like it's your last, right? That's the most important thing for me.
And you mentioned, you actually quoted once before in an interview about this. You said when you got out of the operating theatre, it was like coming out of a vagina again.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Probably not as fun.
Well, while we're on vaginas, you once had a one-night stand with a woman. You got her pregnant and you married her, but it wasn't seamless, was it, in the end?
No, but I thought I'd do the right thing, so that my kids had my surname. But it wasn't to be. But we lasted a couple of years, and then I ended up with the kids, so it's all good.
And it was a shocking way you found out?
So, I came home, put the key in the door. I went away for state titles. I knew things were pretty bad and it wasn't really working, but went away for the state titles and won the over 28s division at the time at Coffs Harbour, and came home and Souths were playing, and Souths were my team. And I put the key in the door, and like the whole house was gone, like it was just completely empty. And there was my clothes were on the floor. There was no coat hangers there, no knives and forks. Like everything was gone. My kid was gone.
Take the light globes, find some light globes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then I rang up my wife at the time's mum and said, "Hey, see, I think we've been robbed." And she said, "No, sit down. She's met a removalist." That was handy.
That's so sad.
I know, it sounds like a pun, like a punchline, and it kind of was at the time. But
I was going to say, but getting back to surfing, surfing's been a big part of your life, hasn't it? And you were a fair surfer back in the day. I think you got some of these pics.
Yeah, look at Teza in there back in the day. I got up on the world rankings. I did follow the world tour and stuff, and I got up to number 69 in the world, which was a fantastic number.
Yep.
How do you do that? It's defying gravity.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I was really lucky. Won a couple of big contests. Got to represent Australia at the world the World Championships in California and stuff. And we got to California in the Aussie team, and South Africa were there. We weren't allowed to compete because we had an apartheid against South Africa in the early 80s, which meant we couldn't compete against them in sport. But yeah, pretty lucky.
When growing up in Maroubra, you a bra boy?
I still got the 2035, the original one, on the old wrist there, 2035 Roman numerals.
Is there one on there?
No, that's my brother's keeper. No, that was a bit later on with the evidence,
But it was a real tough time back in those early days.
It was as hard as it gets. It was really tough. I hung out with a guy called Marty Lee, which was like the king of the bra boys, and the guy with the baseball bat and stuff. So I won the state title when I was really young, and he came up to me, and I was hanging out with these other dorky guys, and he said, "Oh, did you win the state title?" Yes, I said, "Yeah." And he goes, and he said to me, "Mate, Fat Cat and Alan," and he goes, "Fuck off, he's hanging with me now." And I went, "Oh, well, they're my mates." And he goes, "Not anymore." And he took me under his wing, and he made me surf like huge waves, and he pushed me like to total limits. So in a weird way, it was the best thing that happened to me for surfing. Then when I left Maroubra to go up to Nelson Bay, I thought, I don't want to. I felt like that guy in Footloose, that had gone from like the city to some little country town. Anyway, and they used to I used to get articles in the Examiner, and the locals would like tear it out and put it on the dartboard. So it wasn't well received. Like, "You're a flush-in, mate. Don't come up here taking our waves." But eventually it worked out pretty good, yeah. Took 20 years.
How would a pub in Maroubra go if you walked in back then doing a Billy Idol tribute performance?
Oh, it would have gone off, yeah. We had the Rads, and everyone used to play at Maroubra. The Maroubra Bay Hotel had a lot of... we were going there when we were, believe it or not, like 15 and 16. There was no, let me see your bus pass kind of stuff. It was just, straight in, and, I think I had a little Milky Mo at the time. I looked old when I was young, and then I looked younger when I was older. So that worked out pretty good.
Teza, you've had an incredible life. Give him a round of applause.
Thanks, everyone.
So many good stories.
Thanks, Newcastle.
Now we're going to wrap it up, but we're going to wrap it up with a bang. We've got the RSPYS that are going to come out and blow you away. I just want to say thank you for everyone for coming tonight. It's been a great journey. This is our second live show. We've got many more to come, so I'd love you to come back. Also, just want to thank Teza McKenna, Mark Evans, and also Craig Bloxom. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
And we're going to go out with a bang with the RSPYS. Have a great night. Drive safe. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Make some noise for Caney, everyone. What an incredible journalist and interviewer. Honestly, Graham Norton, look out.
Thank you.
This isn't just a gym. It's where limits get broken. A place where community comes together, sweat turns into strength, and every drop is progress. No excuses, no egos, just results. Join Fitstop Newcastle today, a start to a better you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very, very much, Michael Caine, for putting on this evening. It's a very unusual thing, but it was good. It was a bit awkward sometimes. I felt a bit awkward telling all those true stories, but I'd rather tell the truth than not. But wasn't it good hearing from Teza and Mark Evans? Mark was there through all those incredible days, and I've known him for 40 years. What are we going to do?
Hey, Bloxy.
Yes.
What about this one?
All right. You know there's darkness and there's light. Sad stories are told, but it's good to be alive. Here's a song for Mark Evans. Can I get a bit more far back? Looking around, looking around my room, and I see nothing. Waking up and looking around, looking around my room, and I say, I gotta get out and dream. And I wish that I could, but I've got no drugs and no money. Wish I could be by myself. It's just another aftermath of a party. Regretting all those things I probably said. It's just another aftermath of a party. Regretting all those things that I said. Gotta get out and dream and I wish that I could. Got no drugs and no money. Wish I could be by myself. Gotta get out and dreaming. Wish that I could, but I've got no drugs and no money. Wish I could be by myself. I've gotta get out and dreaming. Wish that I could. Got no drugs and no money. wish I could be by myself. Tikoi Tarawa on guitar. This is a song from Michael Wiley from Spy vs. Spy. Could you reduce the echo? The echo, the echo. Thank you. Thank you very much. 1, 2, Michael. 1, 2, 3, ah. Gone by, just abuse my mind. My body's paid the price. Come to afford. Can go up or down or use my mouth too much. Oh Lord, protect my word. Hey! Reality's a matter of a clarity of mind. Reality's a matter of a clarity of mind. Take things away. I like the look of that. Erase our mouth water left in the air. For things I've said, you know they don't all add. Who's a muddle head? Reality's a matter of a clarity of mind. Reality's a matter of a clarity of mind. Reality's a matter of a clarity of mind. What clarity of mind? I've been years gone by, just abuse my mind. My body's paid the price. Come to afford. Go up or down or use my mouth too much. Protect my word. Reality's a matter of a clarity of mind. 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 What clarity of mind? Let's do a song for Teza McKenna. say your prayers, but you can save your cries. But what's done is done, and I'm right here to testify. So tell me why must we stand in line? Tell me why must we stand in line? In the hard times, in the hard times, in the hard times, in the hard times. Gotta find a job in the hard times. You gotta pay the bills in the hard times. You gotta beat the bills in the hard times. The fucking car breaks down in the hard times. Ooh, oh, oh. 5 years older and telling yourself you're wiser, but the mirror shows wrinkles and lines. Ooh, oh, oh, 5 years gone, feeling lonely and tired. Will we ever find out why? Why must we stand in line? Tell me why. Why must we stand in line? In the hard times, 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 in the hard times. Hard times, hard times, in the hard times, hard times, in the hard times, in the hard times, in the hard times, in the hard times. In the hard times. Hey, yo! We got Chrissy Lowe from Cessnock on the drums. Oh, yeah. Huh? What's next? Mark Evans. What a legend, eh? Fucking, what a legend. It was a very emotional night. Very emotional evening. Good old Mark Evans told some stories I don't think he's told for a while. Akadaka back in the day, bagpipes. I fucking hate bagpipes. Fuck, I don't, they're so annoying. Like, you hear bagpipes. Ugh. Anyway, that's just fun. Right, what's next? What's next, Chrissy Lowe?
Oh, a bit of jazz.
What? Jazz? We hope you like our new direction, Jazz. This is another song from Michael Wiley. You get what you can when things don't work out right. City life
makes you grow up fast. To each their own, somehow find a path, but feet get dirty all the way. A disappointment always rears its ugly head. Expensive habits, expensive taste lead you to bed. Sally, Sally, get what you can for Sally Ann. Who do you trust to do what you must do? No destination and always on the loose. For temptation's sake, well, you never made a stand. So I feel that I must rake up this painful past. Sally, Sally, get what you can for Sally. Sally, Sally, get what you can for Sally. Well, they had their way. We all know that was true. Meeting in the park was a silly thing to do. Suspicion doesn't age, nor the memories of you. Because I've never been closer than the newspaper, but I feel for you, Sally, Sally. Get what you can for Sally, Sally, Sally. Get what you can for Sally. Hey, you! Harry's Reasons! One, two, three. The girls are watching and waiting. He's hearing voices, he isn't frightened. A sour lemon is emanating. You better watch it, it's gonna get you. See the needle in 100 haystacks. See the haystack waiting. Why don't you change? How long will this game play out? He's met his match, trying to jail. What really matters, better off in hell. His friends are tatters of his own choosing, career in ruins. It doesn't matter if you don't fight it, you are the loser. See the needle in 100 haystacks. See the haystack waiting. Why don't you change? How long will this game play out? Why don't you change? Girls are watching and waiting. He's hearing voices, he isn't frightened. A sour lemon is emanating. You're hard-headed, he's a cold-blooded. But it's too many, he's not enough. Why don't you change? See the needle in 100 haystacks. See the haystack waiting. Why don't you change? How long will this game play out? Why don't you change? Well, won't you make your exit now? Why don't you change? Thank you for coming along. Mark Evans just said, play something that Craig knows. You wish, buddy. That's a wood block. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Michael Caine. Thank you, Mark Evans. Thank you, Teza. And thank all of you for coming along this evening. modern masons are becoming thieves of the past, and the modern age is trying to lead recognize sovereign life. Don't you wonder why? They're carrying all the old houses down. Can't they see they're the best places around? Yeah, go tear it down. There's life in it, yeah. Don't tear it down. Don't they know that history is written there deep in the walls, but the march of progress what's the buck agreed over us all? Craftsmanship. The stone was cut by hand, and bulldozers are taking over the land. Yeah, go tear it down. There's life in it, yeah. Go tear it down. It's time for us, yeah. Go tear it down. There's an expressway that is planning to come to our lounge. There's eviction notes in business coats. Never renovate, they just tear it down. Nation's heritage. They wanna be down without a sound. Another new town on top of the real town. Yeah, don't tear it down. There's life in it, yeah. Don't tear it down. It's time for us, yeah. Don't tear it down. It's time for us, yeah. Don't tear it down. Hey yo!